Hello, I'm Alyssa, and my pronouns are she and her. I want to welcome you to our weekly virtual worship service of Buckman Bridge Unitarian Universalist Church, or as we like to call it, BBUUC. Unitarian Universalism is a faith denomination that is guided by 7 principles, grounded in the humanistic teachings of the world's religion. To find out more about Unitarian Universalism, please visit the UUA website at uua.org. I am so happy that you have chosen to connect with us today. As we slowly make our way back to some in-person gatherings, we continue to offer other opportunities to connect virtually, including classes, small group ministries, family RE, and fellowship hour on Sundays, where we discuss today's service and enjoy each other's virtual company. I hope you will check out our church website, bbuuc.org, where you can find links to these resources on our calendar. You can also check out our Facebook page as well as your email for more information. Now, let us open our minds and hearts as we worship together. Our chalice words today come from Crystal Hogan. We ignite this flame, symbol of our faith, to beckon us into community, warm our hearts with love, and give us a light to follow as we carry our faith into action.
We need one another. We come together this morning because within us there is something that knows we need more than we can find in our aloneness. We know instinctively in the depths of ourselves that we need others for this journey of life, even though we also guard our independence and individuality quite jealously. So let us celebrate all that makes us unique, yet also all that makes us one. And let us dream dreams of all we can do together.
Good morning and welcome to the Wonder Box. I wonder what's in our box today. Let's see. A birthday candle. Can you think of a reason why there's a birthday candle in our box? Do you think it might have something to do with the 4th of July? When I was a kid, I learned this story about the 4th of July. I learned that it's called Independence Day because on that day, the Declaration of Independence was read. The Declaration of Independence was a letter that the people in America wrote to explain why they wanted to be free from the rule of England. It laid out all of their arguments for why they should be free. A man named Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, and it has this famous line in it. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those words inspired many people and continue to inspire. The idea that all people are equal, that all people have rights, that all people should be free and be able to be happy, those were inspiring ideas. After the Declaration of Independence and a war with England, America was a new country with new laws and a new constitution. And it all started with the Declaration. So celebrating the 4th of July is a bit like celebrating America's birthday. That's what I learned as a kid. But there's another part to this story that I didn't really learn until I was much older. Thomas Jefferson, the man who wrote that all men are created equal and had the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, well, he also owned slaves. Slavery is the very wrong idea that a person can be owned by another person and have their freedom taken away and be forced to work. People in Africa were captured and sold and brought to America. And in America, many of the same people who talked about freedom also owned slaves. How could they do that? Didn't they understand that all people meant all people, including Black people? I don't know how they could do that. And it was wrong. Slavery was very, very wrong. So now the story I know about the 4th of July is a little bit more complicated. It was a day when some people declared that there should be freedom, but there wasn't freedom for everyone. It would take almost 100 years and another war before slavery ended. And even today, there are still people who aren't treated like they're equal, or that they have the right to life, liberty, or to pursue happiness. We still have a lot of work to do to become the America I thought we were when I was a kid. So I wonder what can happen if we work together to create more freedom and justice for everyone. Happy Independence Day. And with this, our story is told. Until the next time.
Sharing our joys and concerns with each other is one of the beauties of our community. We show love by sharing each other's burdens. It doesn't change the situation, but it makes our burden a bit lighter. And shared joy is increased joy. We light a flame of concern for our northern friends affected by the heat crisis, especially keeping Reverend Justin and our own beloved Reverend Amy and their communities in our hearts. We light another flame of concern for our southern friends affected by the awful collapse of the Surfside condo, a truly devastating tragedy. We light a flame of joy for Dixie C., who has been discharged from the hospital. She is at home with Ted, continues to recover with physical therapy, and is doing well. They are doing errands, going to doctor appointments, and Ted is encouraged by the progress on their new home. We light another flame of joy for Cindy J., who just returned from a wonderful week in Chicago with her grandsons. What a city, shares Cindy. Another joyful flame for Chuck and Julie S., who celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary on June 19th. Our congratulations on this wonderful milestone. David Dean, BBUUC member and video editor for our worship team, has been nominated for an Emmy Award in the category of Outstanding Travel, Adventure, and Nature Program as a producer of Samantha Brown's Places to Love. We are so very proud of David and light a candle of joy in his honor. We light a flame of sorrow for Ron F., who lost his extended family brother, Steve Wang. For 37 years, he was Ron's best friend and brother. Ron is godfather to his daughter and gave his son his middle name, Hunter. Stephen had a massive stroke and heart attack, and after 3 weeks in the hospital on life support and end-of-life care, he passed on the morning of June 29th at the age of 59. Ron will keep Steve always in his heart and soul, and he urges us all to cherish our lives, our days, and to treat others like we wish to be treated. He urges us to love, never being afraid to say, I love you. And one last candle we light for all of the joys and concerns that remain in our heart, but not here spoken.
Let America Be America Again by Langston Hughes. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great, strong land of love where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery's scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, of owning everything for one own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker sold to the machine. I am the Negro servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean. Hungry yet today, despite the dream. Beaten yet today, oh pioneers! I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker bartered through the years. Yet I'm the one who dreamt our basic dream. In the old world, while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings. In every brick and stone, in every furrow turned, that's made America the land it has become. Oh, I'm the man who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. For I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shore and Poland's plain and England's grassy lay, and torn from black Africa's strand, I came to build a homeland of the free. The free? Who said the free? Not me. Surely not me. The millions on relief today, the millions shot down when we strike, the millions who have nothing for our pay, for all the dreams we've dreamed, for all the songs we've sung, and for all the dreams we've held, and all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay, except the dream that's almost dead today. Oh, let America be America again. The land that never has been yet, and yet must be. The land where every man is free. The land that's mine. The poor man, Indians, Negroes, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure. Call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. From those who live like leeches on the people's lives, we must take back our land again. America. Oh yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me, and yet I swear this oath. America will be. Out of the rack and ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot of graft and stealth and lies, we, the people, must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains, and the endless plain, all the stretch of these great green states, and make America again.
As we prepare for our virtual plate offering, I'd like to share some words with you from Heather Christensen. Unitarian Universalism is a grand vision of a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. That vision is embodied in a few large congregations, numerous mid-sized congregations, and many, many small congregations. No matter its size, every congregation depends on each of its members. Each one of you, by your commitment of time, energy, and resources, helps make that grand vision real. Individually and together, we are Unitarian Universalists, building a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. A note of thanks for the continued support from our congregation through your pledge donations. We are so very grateful. We are excited to announce that for the month of July, our virtual plate offering will go towards the BBUUC capital campaign, Pay It Forward. Paying It Forward Beyond Mortgage to Mission is BBUUC's capital campaign to pay off all of our mortgage loans no later than November 1st of this year. This will free up substantial annual expenses in our operating budget that will support our programs and grow our ministries of love and care, serving the mission of BBUUC. We have been given a very generous anonymous offer of $50,000 in matching funds, which is a tremendous step in reaching our goal of almost $113,000, and a great reason to donate today. To make an offering, please find the link to our PayPal giving fund on our YouTube page or through our website. Your contributions are all appreciated. I'm delighted to introduce to you today Reverend Justin Almeida, a Unitarian Universalist community minister in Seattle, Washington, who serves as a hospital chaplain specializing in palliative care and hospice. They are affiliated with University Unitarian Church, which is a spiritual home for their family. When not providing spiritual care, you can find Justin enjoying the arts of fermentation, coffee roasting, and taking long walks while listening to podcasts. Reverend Justin, thank you for sharing with us today.
Good morning, siblings in faith. Thank you for welcoming me to celebrate life and love with all of you at Buckman Bridge Unitarian Universalist Church. I pray that your 4th of July weekend as well, with opportunities for joy, community, and commemoration. I was born in the bicentennial year of 1976, when the United States celebrated 200 years of independence. Growing up in the Southwest, it was all fireworks and barbecues, live music, and the Star-Spangled Banner. The TV would broadcast specials about how a colonial people rose up against the British Empire to forge their own path in history. And isn't this what we do for all celebrations? We gather together, celebrate another rotation around the sun, and share memorable stories over and over again. And yet, the original 4th of July was ever really a graduation announcement. It was when the Second Continental Congress ratified the Declaration of Independence. Our Revolutionary War started the year before. Our name as the United States of America wouldn't be officially adopted by the Continental Congress until September 9th, 1776, and the Revolutionary War wouldn't end until 1783. All 13 of the original states would finally ratify our Constitution in 1790. 14 years from the original announcement to the emergence of a unified nation. And yet, 4th of July is the commemoration of a beginning, a desire for something new, filled with the premise and promise of what could be. I remember when my own son was born, there were so many unknowns. Who would he be? What color of hair or eyes? His personality? Even now, 6 years later, every day is different and unexpected. We will see, my partner and I, life and love willing, if our own hopes and dreams become reality. Much like in the preamble and opening lines of our Declaration of Independence, we want life, liberty, and happiness for our child as he moves closer to his independence from us. It seems to me that human beings have evolved a need in our capacity for meaning making to differentiate ourselves from our beginnings, seeking to find our own uniqueness and legacy. If the old adage from Reverend Theodore Parker still rings true, this need is part of that arc of history ever bending towards justice, which is the holy work I want to speak about today. But first, a little bit about the word holy. Originally, it came out of Gaelic into the Old High Germanic and Old English. All of the words, hulis, Polian, they all meant holly, as in holly trees, which is considered a sacred plant for European indigenous traditions, particular Celtic and Roman religions. There is a reason in December that we still sing a song, deck the halls with boughs of holly, at a very ancient way of creating sacred space. Eventually, the word evolved into the Old English word holig, meaning health, happiness, and wholeness. And its association with spiritual and religious traditions eventually became our own word now, holy. In the context of our work of independence, rooted in Unitarian Universalist principles, I want to call back to the roots of the word holy to focus on the spiritual and religious emphasis on health, happiness, and wholeness. In the case of our nation's Declaration of Independence, we, the people, have many times fallen far from its premise and promise of the truths that we were supposed to have been so very self-evident, that all human beings are created equal and therefore endowed with rights of life, liberty, and happiness. 245 years since this declaration, through holding on to that moral arc of the universe, we have wrestled and reckoned with the failure through the movements of citizens unwilling to let go of our self-evident rights. Abolition, suffrage, labor unions, civil rights, pride, Black Lives Matter. Whenever we have strayed from our declared values, holy people have called us back into covenant, closer to health, happiness, and wholeness. Because the Declaration of Independence is not just a legal document, it's a covenant. At the very end, after intent, beliefs, and grievances have been stated, there are the words, "And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor." This sounds familiar to me. In our Unitarian Universalist Association bylaws, Article 2, Section C 2.1, lines 39 to 42, grateful for the religious pluralism which enriches and ennobles our faith, we are inspired to deepen our understanding and expand our vision. As free congregations, we enter into this covenant, promising to one another our mutual trust and support. These are the words which follow our own Declaration of Principles and Sources. And like our United States covenant, there are times in which we as individuals and we as a whole do not live into the premise and promise of our faith. We are called back into holiness, back into health, happiness, and wholeness. So if our principles are viewed through the lens of holy independence, from who or what are we separating from to return to covenant? Perhaps we are separating from the shackles and chains of pain, hatred, abuse, violence, fear. Working in hospital systems has taught me something about our condition of being human. Sitting with a veteran who had just completed a final round of chemo, leading to an extended hospitalization, they looked at me and said, "I feel bad. I haven't been the best patient. Hell, I've been an asshole. And yet, you still care for me. I'm sorry I've been so angry." Reflecting on his confession, I replied, "Thank you. I know that when I'm in pain, it's really hard to be my best self too. Maybe when your nurses come in, you can tell them what you've told me. And then maybe work on not being much of an asshole. I'll help with that if you're up for it." I've learned that this being human isn't about being perfect. It's about not giving up. As a Unitarian Universalist, I believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Not just every good person, or beautiful person, or rich person, every person. Yet, I also know that when I encounter a patient with white supremacist tattoos up and down their arm, I feel my anger, my fear, my disgust. And that little piece of my brain at the base of my skull gets activated. And in that moment, I can feel those emotional chains around my heart tighten, binding me, trying to prevent me from accessing my prefrontal cortex, where I may be able in a moment to consider if what I'm doing is living into my own principles. It's in this moment that I seek holy independence from the tyranny of my reactive behavior that can prevent me from living my ministry and my truth. I can choose to side with love, which means taking a deep breath, saying a quiet prayer for strength, and sitting with that Nazi patient who has asked for a chaplain and providing them with spiritual care. Because underneath the pain, the hate, the ink and scars, there's a human being with inherent worth and dignity who is asking for help. And who knows, maybe even redemption. Psychiatrist and concentration camp survivor Viktor Frankl wrote in his work, Man's Search for Meaning, quote, "Everything can be taken from a person, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." Frankl found in the camps, as he lost his father and mother, brother and spouse to illness, starvation, and gas chambers, that some prisoners could hold on to their wholeness while others would sink deeper and deeper into despair. He wondered what was at the core of the ability to retain one's own humanity in the midst of horror. And he found that it was in freedom, a holy independence that his oppressors could not take away. This independence is different from the radical individualism that's emerged from the words life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that have somehow forgotten the conclusion about being bound together in life, fortune, and honor. Holy independence, an independence that promotes spiritual health, happiness, and wholeness, does its best to live well in the dynamic tension between the individual and the interconnected. Because I also believe in justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, which challenges the tyranny of selfishness and narcissism that can well up from psychic and spiritual wounds that whisper in my ear, you are not enough. You don't have enough. There isn't enough. You're not strong enough. You're not good enough. There's never enough. I seek independence from these chains of scarcity, because the self-evident truth is that all around me is the abundance of life and love. And if there isn't an abundance of life and love, then my religion calls me into action to create health, happiness, and wholeness, not just for myself, but for others. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. My own holy independence is rooted in yours, and yours in mine. Which is why I believe in the acceptance of one another and the encouragement of spiritual growth in our congregations. Why I believe in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Why I believe in the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregation and in society at large. Because, as the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one affects all indirectly. Holy independence is not my independence from you or from others. It's in my realization that across from I, there's a thou. Philosopher and existentialist Martin Buber wrote Humanity wishes to be confirmed in their being by humanity and wishes to have a presence in the being of the other. Secretly and bashfully, they watch for a yes, which allows them to be, and which can come to them only from one human person to another. This is why independence is so important, not because it allows me to pull up my bootstraps and shake my fist at the universe. It cultivates my capacity to be my best me, so that I can be the encourager and witness for you being your healthy, happy, and whole you. Out of this comes my belief in the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, and in respecting the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Our faith aims to free us from the shackles of in-group and out-group division, which has become the cultural norm. Progressives versus conservatives, Democrats versus Republicans, liberalism versus postmodernism. None of these are good versus evil. As I've sat with moral and ethical human beings with all of these labels, and I've been on the receiving end of rage and abuse from the fundamentalist Christian, as well as from the Unitarian Universalist. And there have been many moments where I have failed myself and our faith. Yet, the covenant remains, because I believe holy independence is not about being right. It's in the process of getting it right. Perhaps the best example for me of holy independence can be found in the Christian scriptures with the story of the Good Samaritan, found in the book of Luke, chapter 10, verses 25 through 37. Behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tested Jesus, saying, "Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?" And Jesus said to him, "What is written in the law? How do you read it?" And he answered, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." Jesus said to him, "You've answered correctly. Do this, and you will live." But he, desiring to justify himself, asked Jesus, "Who is my neighbor?" And Jesus answered, "A certain man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell among robbers, who both stripped him and beat him and departed, leaving him half dead. By chance, a certain priest was going down that way. When he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. In the same way, a Levite also, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a certain Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was. And when he saw him, he was moved with compassion, came to him, bound up his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. He set him on his own animal and brought him to an inn and took care of him. On the next day, when he departed, he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the host and said to him, "Take care of this man. Whatever you spend beyond that, I will repay you when I return." Looking at the lawyer, Jesus said, "Now, which of these 3 do you think seemed to be a neighbor to the man who fell among the robbers?" And the lawyer said, "He who showed mercy on him." And then Jesus said to him, "Go and do likewise." On the surface, this seems like a basic story of helping those in need. However, in the context of first century Judea, an important detail needs to be known. For that time and place, Jews and Samaritans deeply hated one another. Culturally, religiously, it was common for them to kill one another. And yet, this Jesus of Nazareth places before the lawyer an almost impossible task: to love his enemy. The way I interpret this parable is that in order to live fully into the premise and promise of being human, I must not only love life with all my heart, strength, soul, and mind. I must also learn to love the person I want to hate the most, which is at the core of true holy independence and the mission and vision of our covenanted principles. Siblings in faith, ours is not an easy religion. In many ways, it is the work of a lifetime. It is also a faith that encourages us into a life of mutual formation, cultivating our capacity to be deeply human, ever becoming a more beloved community. For us, there is no damnation other than the chains we allow ourselves to carry. And every time we gather together, the keys of freedom are waiting in the space between us. On this 4th of July, let us celebrate not only the premise and promise written into our national covenant, let us also celebrate holy independence from the tyranny of bigotries, hatreds, discriminations, and despair. Not a celebration of completion or reward. We celebrate for a renewal of covenant and commitment, a celebration of our holy work. Let us be a holy people, a healthy, happy, and whole people, through minds that think, hearts that love, and hands that are ready to serve. Today, let us mark our Independence Day. May it be so. Amen. In closing for our time together, Be About the Work by Andrea Hawkins Camper. May we see all as it is, and may it all be as we see it. May we be the ones to make it as it should be. For if not us, who? If not now, when? This is answering the cry of justice with the work of peace. This is redeeming the pain of history with the grace of wisdom. This is the work we are called to do, and this is the call we answer now. To be the barrier and the bridge, to be the living embodiment of our principles, to be about the work of building the beloved community, to be a people of intention and a people of conscience. Siblings in faith, go in peace to love and serve the world. Amen.